sorry. Not the mic. Don't need the mic, may I have your opinion on the meritocracy system in Singapore?
I don't know whether the statement will apply to this generation because I think things are changing. At least in my time, the system was entirely based on academic exam results, and the rewards you get for that is you're supposed to get a good career.
Thank you. Without further ado, let's begin with our first proposition speaker, Jhilik. Bells will be used to signify a rebuttal.
I think that meritocracy should be supported in Singapore. Since meritocracy is enforced as early as in primary 3, there is a reason to excel in our academics and pressure to do well. It is often believed that how we do, which school we attend, and which class we attend determines the trajectory of our lives. Thus, meritocracy will be a motivator for students, whether self-driven or not, to do their very best in every exam for their future. Besides, the stratification of schools can serve as a wake-up call for students who did not put their 100% in each exam. Knowing that they are lacking in terms of ability compared to students in premier schools, they will buck up, work hard, and aim to achieve equal standards.
Students may not be able to handle the increased amount of stress, and this consequently affects their mental health and perspective on education. For example, this January, the newspaper reported that after getting her O-level results, a 16-year-old committed suicide. Except for 2 Bs, she has got distinctions for all her other subjects. She left a note for her parents saying, "Mom, I am sorry for being such a disappointment. I should have done better." Her mother had high expectations of her daughter, pushing her to do well to get into medical school. She often compared her daughter's results with those of her friends' children. Hence, when students are unable to meet these expectations, they feel unnecessary stress of letting their parents down. This is shown in how the 16-year-old has resorted to suicide. Hence, this shows that the meritocratic system has resulted in great stress and harm to a student's mental well-being.
It seems like we are off to a great start. Next up, we have the first opposition speaker.
Thank you, Jana. Meritocracy often leads to academic elitism, which defies the purpose of education. Students may be so caught up in topping the class that their sole focus will be memorizing the information without properly understanding it. They will not be able to enjoy the process of learning and may suffer from mental breakdowns due to the high amount of stress. The spirit of education is in the process of learning. So how can we have a successful education system when students' aims are to achieve grades?
Students aiming to achieve grades in our country having a successful education system do not contradict each other. Singapore is known internationally for a successful education system, and meritocracy is its basis. For example, NUS was ranked top in Asia in the recent QS University rankings. Doesn't that show the success of our education system? Next, education is to support children in developing the skills, knowledge, and dispositions that will allow them to be responsible, contributing members of society. In this sense, meritocracy develops one's talents and maximizes their potential through the acquiring of knowledge. Students, regardless of their level of education, can contribute to society. So, how is it defining the purpose of education?
Seems like the opposition has no answer to this. Let's hear the proposition's second speaker, Tulip.
Thank you, Chana. Meritocracy allows students of similar learning paces to be grouped together. This is to everyone's benefit, allowing for flexibility and convenience such that students have their learning needs, paces, and styles catered to. Moreover, placing them together promotes healthy competition that drives students to work harder and will thus eventually bring out the best in them. It encourages students to strive for betterment and discourages dependence on state for support and welfare. However, this segregating system creates a clear distinction between the two groups of students, and the weaker students would end up doubting their capabilities and abilities. A sense of inferiority and a lack of self-respect would be developed, and the weaker students would end up thinking that
their abilities are so weak, and the gap between them and the elites is so vast that all the efforts will be futile and there's no point in working hard. Thus, they will be discouraged in working hard instead.
Let us dive straight into the next opposition speaker.
Meritocracy inculcates a false sense of self-worth. It is a common belief that results and school determines one's trajectory in life, and hence is a portrayal of one's individual identity and sense of worth. Please refer to the slides for more details. As you can see, Mr. Ahmad felt like an underdog and small compared to other Raffles graduates, showing how the meritocratic system has led to students' lack of self-worth. However, coming from an elite school definitely does not mean that one is more valuable than others. Each individual, regardless of background, has equal rights and importance to this democratic society.
This is a debate, not a drama competition. Firstly, since the opposition has stated that academic achievements determine a student's self-worth, will it then not encourage students to work even harder when they realize the importance and the impact that results have on their lives? It is only normal for them to start striving for better grades. Secondly, the direct cause of this false sense of self-worth is education. What about when students enter the workforce? Meeting different kinds of people in the work environment and will require much more skills than regular studying. This will thus eventually demolish this self-worth. They will soon start to realize that in the real world, education is but a tool.
Please do not make sweeping statements by assuming that students will be encouraged to work harder, as this does not apply to everyone. Yes, some may be motivated to work harder, but some may feel depressed and frustrated. Even if this false sense of self-worth is destroyed, the impact would have already been done, affecting their life greatly. The effects are irreversible and the self-esteem is hard to regain. There is no point in demolishing this false sense of self-worth if the damage has already been done.
Alright, now let us welcome the last proposition speaker.
Thank you. Meritocracy should be supported as privileges are given to all who are hardworking and deserving. Without meritocracy, privileges will be given to people just because they are born in aristocratic or rich families with an opportunity for higher learning. This is extremely unfair to students as they are judged based on background, something they cannot change. With meritocracy sweeping into secondary schools, or eligibility to bursaries is blind to race, gender, age, or class difference, and no one is denied of their right to an educational institution. People will receive awards as long as they put in hard work. It is only fair that students are rewarded based on what they give, not what they are given.
If you say that students are rewarded based on how hard they work, how do you measure how hard they work? Some non-academically inclined students work equally as hard or even harder. It is unfair to judge them on their grades as there are various factors involved, such as poor time management or the stress they face under examination. Albert Einstein once said, "Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work." I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the tale of the tortoise and the hare. This may be a folk tale, but like all folk tales, there is a lesson to learn from this story. Diligence and perseverance will always triumph talent. Similarly, one who works hard in any field will always be the ultimate champion. If a student who is not as academically inclined works hard, he or she can achieve the equal results those in elite schools achieve. Even those in elite schools with higher than above average IQs have to work hard to achieve their good grades. Meritocracy should not be supported as it does not treat all as equal. It takes social status into consideration. Students from wealthier families get more help, exposure, and get a head start as they get external help such as tuition. Others from lower income families have to work harder and to catch up with these students. There are statistics showing that most students in GEP and IP are from higher income families than that of lower income families.
The aim of meritocracy is to give students equal chances for opportunities. However, equality is not equity. Equality aims to ensure that everyone gets the same things. Equity, on the other hand, is giving people what they need in order to succeed. Your speech points out the flaw of equality, which only works if everyone starts at the same point, and because of the different financial positions, it's not the case. I admit that meritocracy causes students whose families are unable to afford tuition being put at a disadvantage. However, that is simply a disadvantage. If we were to practice equity, these academically elite students would suffer unfairness and to put in tremendous effort into their academics to achieve the elite grades. And if there were to be equity, those students who do not put in as much effort will still enjoy the same benefits that academically elite students enjoy. You can overcome a disadvantage, but putting down this academically elite students' efforts is unjust and unfair, and in terms of degree, it's much more serious than simply a disadvantage.
Last but not least, our last opposition speaker for the night.
Meritocracy results in inequalities and widening income gaps, and the anger caused by this can tear communities apart. A society can be fragmented because of this. When a child does not meet the standards set by society, for example in grades, they become marginalized and neglected instead of being supported. Meritocracy reproduces and reinforces class stratification and maintains inequality. Achievements in academics is much more valued than achievements in other aspects, say performing arts. This explains why doctors are paid much more than artists. Doctors also, elite also have an upper hand in other aspects such as securing a job position in the future.
I would like to clarify that society does not neglect students that excel in other areas. Schools like School of the Arts, Singapore Sports School, and School of Science and Technology. The presence of efforts to build such schools, equipped with proper facilities to nurture a student holistically, shows that these students are not neglected, and their passion and interest is instead embraced and built upon. These students specialize in areas which they have passion in and are developed based on it. Hence, there is no actual need for them to compete with others for job opportunities. Moreover, academic achievements and achievements in other aspects are all achievements and none is more valued. Take this into account. A student represents Singapore in an international math competition and a student represents Singapore in the Olympics. Both represent our country and hence they are no different. Even though they excel in different areas, at the end of the day, both students excel enough to be part of competitions and hence their values are the same. Thank you.
Wow, don't you all agree there was such an intense battle? So, have our talented CCA leaders changed your opinions? May we please have a show of hands again on how many people support the meritocracy system in Singapore after hearing this debate? I've gotten the results. The winner for tonight's debate is, drumroll please, the opposition speakers. Let's put our hands together to congratulate them once again.